Hello, Grand Prairie Airhogs fans, and welcome to another edition of Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. We're broadcasting live on Ustream, and we're back here in Laredo, Texas. Final game of the three-game set between the Airhogs and the Laredo Lemurs. Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Humphrey. Thank you for tuning into this broadcast of Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Airhogs have dropped this series already as Laredo took the first two games, last night winning by a score of 6-3, and getting the win for the Lemurs last night was the reliever Michael Suk, but got 3 innings in relief and didn't allow a single run. The loss went to the Airhogs starter TJ Bozeman, but looking to avoid the sweep tonight against Laredo. They have a tall task in front of them. It's the right-hander Jeremy Strawn on the mound for the Lemurs, and Strawn has been almost flawless in his first professional season, a record of 6-0, an ERA of 3.39, now riding a 5-game winning streak. The rookie out of Florida Atlantic University, 23 years old. Already thrown one complete game shutout against the Airhogs this year, and his most recent victory was on August 3rd. Went 5 innings and only allowed 3 runs on 6 hits. This is the lineup that he will face from the Grand Prairie Airhogs under manager Eric Champion. Leading it off, Jimmy Mojica, the shortstop. Then batting second, Alex Nunez, the second baseman. Then batting third, Abel Nieves at third base. Then the cleanup hitter Jason Botts at first base. Batting fifth, the left fielder Brian Myro. Then batting sixth, Brian Peterson, the catcher. Then batting seventh, Frazier Hall in right. Batting eighth will be Eric Baker, the center fielder. And then batting ninth will be the designated hitter Ryan Gaspora, just activated yesterday. Gaspora was the bullpen catcher for most of this season, but has only been up for one official game this year. But he is back in the active roster for the Airhogs in this series against Laredo. So Jimmy Mojica, the former Lemur, will lead it off. Mojica, a rough night last night, only going 0 for 5. In the first game of the series, he was 2 for 4 with a run scored against his former club. Now stands in against the right-hander Jeremy Strawn. Here's the windup in the first pitch. And at 7:40 p.m., it is low for ball one. Scoreboard still shows the score from last night, so we'll see if we can get that reset here at Unitrade Stadium as the 1-0 comes to the plate. That is called strike one to Mojica. Mojica's batting average is now at .292 after going 0 for 5 last night. Has a couple of home runs and 25 runs driven in. 1-1 pitch is outside this time from Strawn. And it's 2 balls and 1 strike to Mojica with Alex Nunez on deck. Airhogs are now 7-9 against Laredo, who lead the wild card with a record of 48-33. They are 12 games in front of the Airhogs in second place in the South Division. Airhogs currently in third in front of Amarillo. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Driven high in the air to center field. A few steps to his left side for Van Stratton. Now he comes in a little bit. It was a little more shallow than he expected at first. But it is out number 1 on Jimmy Mojica. Here's the defensive lineup for the Laredo Lemurs. John Alonso at first base. Travis Denker at second. Devin Goodwin at shortstop. Harrison Kane at third. Byron Wiley in left. Nick Van Stratton in center. Dennis Phipps in right. And Carlos Ramirez the catcher behind the plate. Alex Nunez up now. Nunez a 3-game hitting streak. Went 4 for 5 last night with a double as well as 3 singles. And scored a run. So the lone bright spot on the Airhogs offense in last night's game, where they only managed 3 runs on 8 hits. And Nunez will take strike 1 from Strawn. Strawn was named the American Association Player of the Month for the month of July. He went 4-0 during the month of July with a 2.21 ERA. Next pitch from Strawn is driven by Nunez into center field. It bounces for a base hit. And Nunez continues his hot hitting against Laredo in this series. Starts things off with a single tonight. So 1 on and 1 out in the top of the first inning. The Airhogs and Lemurs still scoreless. Abel Nieves to the plate now. .328 batting average for Nieves. 2 home runs, 35 runs driven in. Nieves last night went 1 for 5. First pitch is upstairs from Strawn. So the Airhogs faced both Strawn brothers on the mound in this series. Josh Strawn, the older brother of Jeremy, started on Tuesday night. Josh Strawn is a former Airhog, as Jeremy delivers ball 2 at the knees and a little in tight to Abel Nieves. Jason Botts on deck. Strawn now in his 3rd start against Grand Prairie, and he's 2-0. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Nieves. It is called strike 1 on the outside corner. Umpire crew for tonight's game: at home plate, Bill Montgomery; at first base, Brian Child; at third base, David Frame. 2 balls and a strike to Abel Nieves, right-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Strawn set at the letters. Here comes the 2-1. That swung on and tipped foul into the screen. And Nieves now even in the count again, 2-2. Airhogs have scored first in each of the first 2 games, but Laredo has come back to win it. Laredo had 10 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning after they were trailing 3-1 coming into that bottom of the 8th. Nieves will look at strike 3 on the inside edge. He leaned backwards, thinking it was a little too inside, and he's wanting an explanation from Bill Montgomery, but he's not going to get it. It's out number 2. So the first baseman, Jason Botts, will be up. 2 outs and a runner on first base. Botts is still looking for his first base hit of the series. Last night went 0 for 3 with a walk, and he went 0 for 4 on Tuesday night. He looks at strike 1, a nice breaking pitch from Strawn. Botts' batting average now at .309. Leads the Airhogs in both home runs and runs batted in this year. And their most consistent hitter, as well as their most consistent player overall, as he lines the next pitch into right field. A base hit there. And he finally gets his first base knock of the series against Laredo, putting runners at first and second base. Airhogs still with 2 outs, and now Brian Myro will bat. Brian Myro is playing in left field tonight. Has been the DH the last couple of nights for the Airhogs. Last night only had 1 at bat. He had a sacrifice fly and 2 walks. Strawn looks at second, now delivers home. Strike 1 called to Brian Myro on the outside corner. Myro at .238 batting this year. Couple of home runs and 17 runs driven in his 3rd season with the Airhogs, a 37-year-old player coach. Here is the 0-1 from Strawn, and that's also called strike 2. A little bit lower this time, but it found the zone for Strawn. Brian Peterson on deck. Airhogs have runners at first and second base, 2 away in the first inning. Strawn now set for the 0-2. Here comes to Myro. It's a little outside this time. Brian Myro, left-handed batter against Strawn, the right-handed pitcher. A difference of 14 years between batter and pitcher here in this at-bat. Strawn from Bradenton, Florida, out of Florida Atlantic University. The 1-2 is swung on and driven into right field, and Myro will grab a base hit. Rounding third is Nunez, trying to score now. The slide doesn't come as Ramirez has the ball and now tags Nunez. Initially, Nunez thought that he had gotten home plate, and Ramirez hadn't made the tag when they collided, but then Ramirez walked over to Nunez, who was on the ground behind home plate, and then finally made the out with that tag there. So Nunez tagged out at home plate on a bizarre play, and the Airhogs will be held scoreless in this first inning. No run score on 3 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. Still scoreless as we go to the bottom of the first inning here in Laredo. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball. Scoreless after 1/2 inning, and Trevor Hardin will be on the mound in this first inning for the Airhogs. Hardin on the season is making start number 16. He has a record of 6-4 and an ERA of 4.06. 2-1 against Laredo in 3 starts this year against the Lemurs, and in this ballpark he has gotten his 2 wins against the team. So looking to continue that road success against Laredo tonight. Here's the lineup that he will face from the Laredo Lemurs under manager Pete Incaviglia. Leading it off, Nick Van Straten, the center fielder. Then batting second, Dennis Phipps in right field. Batting third, Travis Denker at second base. Then batting cleanup, John Alonso at first base. Then batting fifth, the DH, JP Ramirez. Batting sixth, Devin Goodwin, the shortstop. Batting seven, Byron Wiley in left. Then batting eighth, the catcher, Carlos Ramirez. And batting ninth, Harrison Kane, the third baseman. First batter that Hardin faces is Nick Van Straten, who has been a very consistent hitter for Laredo this year, but really can't say that for this series. 0 for 9 in the first 2 games. And Van Straten's batting average now down to .342 on the year. That batting average is good for 8th in the league. First pitch to Van Straten is taken on the outside corner for strike 1. Van Straten was an all-star center fielder. Went 1 for 3 in the all-star game. 0-1 pitches upstairs from Trevor Hardin. Van Straten had a 33-game hitting streak between the months of June and July. So he's been a really consistent veteran hitter as he grounds the next pitch to Mojica, but it comes off of his glove, and it's going to roll into shallow left. So on first is Van Straten on that play, whatever it may be ruled, either a hit or an error. Mojica was going to his right side, and it appeared to come off of his glove. It may be ruled an error. Nevertheless, it brings up Dennis Phipps, the next batter. Phipps in right field again. And throwing out Alex Nunez at home plate in the top of the first inning, so already making his impact on the game before he comes to the plate. Here comes the first pitch from Hardin. That is called strike 1 on the outside corner. It is ruled an error to Jimmy Mojica, the shortstop. That's the 3rd time in this series that Van Straten has reached on an error, still doesn't have a base hit. Phipps, right-handed batter, Hardin, right-handed pitcher. The 0-1 is on the way. Low in the dirt on the breaking pitch, and it's ball 1. Defensive lineup for the Airhogs looks like this. Jason Botts at first base. Alex Nunez at second. Jimmy Mojica at shortstop. Abel Nieves at third. Brian Myro in left. Eric Baker in center. Frazier Hall in right. And Brian Peterson behind the plate. Hardin looks over his shoulder at Nick Van Straten, who's leading off pretty dangerously, I should say, but Hardin thinking about going. Now Van Straten is going to go on this pitch, but it's fouled back by Phipps. And it's now a ball and 2 strikes the count. Van Straten this year for Laredo has 13 stolen bases. Dennis Phipps has played 48 games for Laredo and is batting .370. Last night he went 0 for 4, but has done very well against Grand Prairie in games prior to this one. 1-2 pitch on the way from Hardin. Breaking ball low to the right side of Peterson, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Travis Denker on deck. Phipps has 11 home runs and 35 RBIs in his time here in Laredo since coming here from the Chicago White Sox minor league system. Brief time in the major leagues for him as well in 2012, playing for the Cincinnati Reds. Runner on first, nobody out. Hardin brings it to Phipps. A breaking ball again, driven deep into left field. Going back, Myro towards the warning track, makes the catch. Van Straten tagging and now going to second base. The throw is not in time, and that's something that you don't see very often. Runners tagging at first and going to second base when a fly ball goes to the outfield, but Van Straten thought it was deep enough to left for him to try and take that extra base there. So it's a runner at second base and only one out. Travis Denker will bat now. Denker grabbed 3 RBIs last night to give him 78 on the season. Also has 23 home runs. He had one of those last night as well, solo shot to left. Leader in both of those categories in the league. First pitch to him is little inside on a fastball from Hardin. On second base is Van Straten, 1 out in the bottom of the first inning. No score here in Unitrade Stadium. Hardin set, and here comes the 1-0 pitch. It was a changeup there, a little inside to Denker, and it's 2-0. Previous record for home runs in a season for the Lemurs was 13 before Denker hit 23 this season. Palmer Card Jr. had that record, the former Air Hog. Here's the 2-0. Called strike one on the higher and outside corner. John Alonso on deck for Laredo, who now lead in the wild card race by 3.5 games on the St. Paul Saints, riding a 6-game winning streak. That is to the right side of Peterson, and taking third is Van Straten. Peterson blocked it in the dirt, but it rolled too far in front of him, and Van Straten using his speed once again on the base pads to put himself on third base. Possibly be a wild pitch for Trevor Hardin there, putting Van Straten on third. 3 balls and a strike to Denker. And here comes the 3-1 from Hardin. That is on the ground, foul, down the third base line. That moves the count full. Travis Denker is from Brea, California. He is 29 years old. Last played for the Lancaster Barnstormers in the Atlantic League. And hit very well for them as well, and really showing how powerful he can be in the American Association this year, just taking the league by storm as a right-handed power hitter. Runner on third and only 1 out for Laredo in the bottom of the first. Payoff pitch to Denker is in the dirt on a breaking ball from Hardin, and it's ball 4. Well, Trevor Hardin struggling a little bit in this outing, especially in that at-bat against Denker. Breaking ball wasn't really placed well for him, and now he'll face John Alonso. Alonso this year, .354 hitter, and that batting average is good for 6th in the league. Hardin set with runners at the corners and 1 out. Here comes the pitch to Alonso. It is low and outside to the right-handed batter, and it's ball 1. Alonso was the AA Player of the Month for June, batting .426 in that month. Spent a little time on the DL in July, but is now back and really hasn't missed a beat as he looks at strike 1. Alonso is another veteran on this roster. 2nd year with Laredo. He is 28 years old from Orlando, Florida. Hardin set again. Here comes the 1-1. Another breaking ball, and it's in there this time for a called strike 2. J.P. Ramirez on deck with runners at the corners and 1 out for Trevor Hardin in his 16th start of the year and his 4th start against Laredo. Lemurs still no base hits in this inning here as the 1-2 pitch comes, and it's hit high in the air to center field. Eric Baker going back and will make the catch. Tagging and trying to score now is Van Straten, and he will do so easily on the sacrifice fly by John Alonso. So 1-0 is the score in favor of Laredo. They're the first team to score in this one. Airhogs were on the board first in the first couple of games and ended up losing to Laredo. But it might be tougher for the Airhogs to come back against the pitcher Jeremy Strawn, who has been dealing in his first 7 starts as a professional. Runner on first base and 2 outs for J.P. Ramirez. Harden set to deliver, and here comes the pitch. It is on the inside edge for called strike 1. Ramirez went 0 for 2 last night and was subbed out by Kyle Brandenburg in the 8th inning. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Harden looks in and now delivers. That is called strike 2. You hit the same inside corner that he did with the last pitch. And it's no balls and 2 strikes with Devin Goodwin on deck. J.P. Ramirez is from Aransas Pass, Texas. He's 24 years old. Last season played for the Sioux Falls Canaries. Harden ready for another pitch here. The 0-2 is fouled back into the screen by Ramirez, and it's still 0-2. Ramirez was a highly touted high school prospect from New Braunfels, and the Washington Nationals decided to take a chance on him in the 15th round of the 08 draft. He was with 2 Class A affiliates last year and hit a combined .279 with 2 home runs and 32 RBIs with those teams in the Nationals organization. Here comes the 0-2 in the dirt from Harden that time. Didn't want to give him a hittable pitch on an 0-2 count, and here comes another 1-2 pitch. After Harden sets for it, runner on first and 2 outs. Lemurs have 1 run on no hits in this inning here. There is 1 error for the Airhogs. Jimmy Mojica allowed Nick Van Straten to reach base. Here comes the 1-2. Runner not going. Started to go, but held back. And so Denker going back to the base. Check swing from Ramirez is confirmed by the third base umpire David Frame. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Trevor Harden being forced to throw a lot of pitches in this first inning. He's now up to 23. Now here comes number 24. 2-2 to Ramirez is outside and another full count. Lemurs up 1-0 on the sacrifice fly by John Alonso. Runner on first base and 2 outs. This is the final series at this ballpark between these 2 teams. 1 more series will be played at Quick Trip Park next week. Runner going on the 3-2. On the ground to second base, but it gets through to right field. A base hit, and now going to third base is Denker on the first Laredo base hit of the night. Comes to J.P. Ramirez, and it puts runners on the corners once again. 2 gone in the first inning. So now Devin Goodwin will start his night at the plate. Goodwin last night went 1 for 3, scoring 2 runs. Had a leadoff double in the 3-run 7th inning that eventually gave Laredo the lead. Harden looks in now and now is ready for the pitch. Here it comes to Goodwin, low to Peterson, the catcher, and it's ball 1. Airhogs are now 12 games behind the Laredo Lemurs in the wild card race. Laredo's second in the South Division, Airhogs third. And really on the outside looking in the playoff picture. The 1-0 inside to Goodwin that time. 2 balls and no strikes, and Harden is still climbing in the pitch count, now at 28 for this inning. 6th batter of the inning for Devin Goodwin. Byron Wiley on deck, 2-0. The count with runners at the corners and 2 gone. Harden kicks and delivers. Breaking ball is just missing high. And it's now 3-0 to Goodwin. Goodwin back at shortstop. He was the All-Star MVP on July 29th in the All-Star game. It's actually a 3-0 count, yeah. And here comes the 3-0 pitch. It's upstairs, and another walk. Second of the inning allowed by Hardin on pitch number 30. Now Brian Peterson out to the mound, as well as Eric Champion, the manager, from the dugout. Eric Champion taking over for Ricky Van Asselberg in early July and has really done well as the manager, coaching the team to about just over a 500 record. And the track record on the road has been very good as well. This series is the only road series that the Airhogs have lost under Champion this season, as the meeting on the mound is over. So the bases are loaded with 2 outs, and the next batter is Byron Wiley. Wiley, a left-handed batter against Hardin, the right-handed pitcher. And Hardin is up to 30 pitches now in just this first inning. Here comes the windup in the pitch to Wiley upstairs for ball 1. Wiley last night for Laredo was 0 for 3. He did score a run after drawing a walk. 1-0 pitch from Hardin is in there this time, a fastball called strike 1. Carlos Ramirez on deck. 1-0 is the score for Laredo, and they're looking for more with bases loaded and 2 outs. Here comes the 2-0 from Hardin, or the 1-1 pitch, I should say, and it's a little inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Wiley now playing his 29th game as a member of the Lemurs. Started out this season with the Kansas City T-Bones. 2-1 is driven hard to the right side, but it's slashing foul. And that one almost hopped over the outfield wall there, just on the outside part of the foul pole. But it's strike 2 to Byron Wiley. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Airhogs are 7-9 against Laredo this year. 3 more games are scheduled between these two on August 18th through the 20th. That's at Quick Trip Park. 2-2 on the way. Check swing, a little low, and now the count is full. So Hardin's pitch count is climbing by the second here in this first inning. Now well over 30 pitches. Runners are going here on the 3-2, and it's low. A walk. The second straight walk, and it brings in a run. 2-0 is the score now for Laredo. And Hardin having a rough first inning against the Airhogs South Division rivals. And now Carlos Ramirez will bat. Ramirez has had a nice series so far. Last night he went 2 for 3 with an RBI double and an RBI single in the 7th. And the game prior to that one, 1 for 5 with an RBI, and he looks at strike 1 from Hardin. Ramirez, the 8th batter of the first inning for Laredo. Laredo now scoring 2 runs on just 1 base hit as the 0-1 comes to Ramirez. This is driven foul down the left side, but very sharply hit there from the catcher Ramirez, and it's 0-2. 9-hitter Harrison Kane is on deck with the bases still loaded and 2 outs. Trevor Hardin just walked in a run, has 3 walks in this inning. Hardin now looking in and now brings the 0-2. This is popped foul by Carlos Ramirez, and the count stays at no balls and 2 strikes. Ramirez at third, Goodwin at second, Wiley at first. 2 down in the bottom of the first inning, and the Airhogs down 2-0 to the Lemurs. Here comes the 0-2 from Hardin, and it's a curveball just missing high. A ball and 2 strikes to Carlos Ramirez, a 26-year-old catcher who last played in the Los Angeles Angels minor league system. 1-2 is on the way. Breaking ball is going to hit Ramirez on the shoulder, and another run will come in as Hardin is now up to 40 pitches in this first inning. And things are not going the way that Trevor Hardin and the Airhogs expected here in this first. The batter will be Harrison Kane with the bases still loaded and 2 outs in the first. Kane started at third base last night and went 1 for 3 with a run scored. Hardin winds up and delivers to Kane, and it's called strike 1 on the high and inside corner. So Laredo batting around in the first, scoring 3 runs on just 1 base hit as Hardin delivers 1 low to Kane. It's now a ball and a strike. Trevor Hardin, 42 pitches and just 20 strikes. Here comes the 1-1. That's on the ground to Jimmy Mojica. He's going to go to second base to get the force on Ramirez, and that will finally end the first for Trevor Hardin. He needed 43 pitches to get out of that first inning, and he gives up 3 runs on just 1 hit, an error by the Airhogs, and 3 men left on base by the Lemurs. We'll go to the second here at Unitrade Stadium, 3-0, the Lemurs on top. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. 3-0, the Lemurs on top of the Airhogs as we go to the second inning. Leading off this second is Brian Peterson, the catcher for Grand Prairie, facing Jeremy Strawn on the mound for Laredo. Brian Peterson last night went 0 for 4, grounded into 2 double plays, and struck out. Now Strawn delivers the first pitch, and Peterson takes it for called strike 1 right down the middle. Peterson batting 197 in 22 games with Grand Prairie. Has a couple of home runs and 7 runs batted in, including a grand slam against Laredo. He looks at called strike 2 on the outside corner. Frazier Hall and Eric Baker up after Peterson in this top of the second. Now Strawn winds up and delivers the 0-2 to Peterson, who pops it foul into the screen. Airhogs are out hitting Laredo already in this game, 3-1, but Laredo is on top in runs, 3-0. 1 error for the Airhogs in the first inning. They've had 2 errors in each of the last 2 games against Laredo. The 0-2 on the way from Strawn. Inside to Peterson, he leans back on ball 1. Well, Peterson's a former Laredo Lemur, and he's been around a multitude of minor league systems in his long 15-year career. 35-year-old veteran catcher. Next pitch driven up the middle, and he gets a base hit here to lead off the second. Straight up the gut in center field, and the Airhogs have their fourth base hit of the night. It'll bring up Frazier Hall with the wind whistling from right to left field, as it always does here at Unitrade Stadium. And it's certainly a factor in each one of the games that the Lemurs play here at home. Frazier Hall has defied the wind in this series. He had a home run on Tuesday night to right field. He'll look at strike one from Strawn. That gives Hall 7 home runs this year and 29 RBIs. Last night, Hall went 1 for 2 with a couple of walks drawn and a single and a run scored. 0-1 pitch is low this time, and Ramirez keeps it in front of him. It's ball one. Frazier Hall, 26 years old, lives in Louisiana. Last played in the Arizona Diamondbacks minor league system. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. As Strawn sets with the runner on first and nobody out. The pitch is driven well into left center field. Wiley going back, and he makes the catch on the warning track in stride, and it's out number one. That was a sharply hit line drive from Frazier Hall that carried a little bit from the wind, but not out of the reach of Byron Wiley, who reached over his head to make the catch. One out, one on, and Eric Baker, batting in the 8th spot tonight, will come up to bat. Baker usually occupies the 9 spot for Grand Prairie. Here comes the pitch from Strawn. Half swing, popped up in the air, and it goes into the seats. Could have been straight up, but Baker's still alive. 0-1 the count. Ryan Gaspora is on deck for Grand Prairie. Eric Baker last night extended his hitting streak to 4 games, going 1 for 4. He's now a .219 batter this year with 22 runs batted in. Here comes the pitch from Strawn, driven high in the air to right center field. Phipps underneath it, going to his right side, and finally makes the catch for out number 2. It's now 2 gone, runner on first base, and now the batter is Ryan Gaspora, the DH. Gaspora, a rookie. He is 24 years old, from Palmdale, California, and has been the Airhogs bullpen catcher for the vast majority of this season. He has played in 1 game as the DH. It was back on June 23rd against the Wichita Wingnuts. He went 0 for 4 in that game. And now in his 2nd game all season, pops this first pitch foul down the left side, and it's 0-1 the count. Gaspora, a left-handed batter against Strawn, the right-handed pitcher. Gaspora last season played for the Alexandra Aces, as well for Edinburgh. Here comes the 0-1. Gaspora check swing, but it's called strike 2 anyway on the inside corner. Jimmy Mojica on deck. No balls and 2 strikes to Gaspora. Runner on first and 2 outs. Airhogs down by 3 runs in the top of the 2nd. Strawn sets and now delivers to Gaspora. It's outside. And now the count moves to 1-2. Jeremy Strawn's last win was against the Kansas City T-Bones. He went 5 2/3, only allowing 3 runs on 9 hits, 2 walks and 2 strikeouts. 5-game winning streak for the rookie out of Florida Atlantic. Next pitch swung on and lifted foul, straight back by Gaspora, still 1-2. Well, the Airhogs allowed Gaspora to be activated, and that meant that they needed to cut somebody, and it was Vince DeFazio who had to leave the team. DeFazio was an all-star catcher for the Airhogs. Now Gaspora getting his chance once again with the team. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Swung on, bounced foul, straight back. And it's still a ball and 2 strikes. Gaspora fighting hard against Jeremy Strawn here. Runner on first and 2 outs. Airhogs down 3-0, even though they're out hitting the Lemurs 4-1. was a bizarre first inning in which the Lemurs batted around against Trevor Hardin, who was forced to pitch 43 times. The 1-2 to Gaspora again, lined into the screen foul. And Gaspora trying to make an impact on Jeremy Strawn's pitch count here. Strawn now up to 35 pitches. 2 outs, a man on first. Airhogs trying to avoid the sweep tonight and snap Laredo's 6-game winning streak. 1-2 pitch, pop foul again, this time over our press box on the third base line. "36 pitches now for Strawn, but most of them have been strikes. The Airhogs are getting pitches to hit here from Strawn, who nods to bring the 1-2. And here comes the Gaspora. In the dirt this time, scooped up by Carlos Ramirez behind the plate, and it's now an even count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ninth pitch of the at-bat is upcoming Gaspora. Peterson leading off at first base with 2 outs in the top of the second inning. Jeremy Strawn will deliver the 2-2. It is popped in the air on the left side. In foul territory goes Harrison Kane to make the catch this time, and that will be out number 3. So no runs on 1 hit for the Airhogs, and they leave a man on base in the top of the second. Now we'll go to the bottom half of the inning with the score still 3-0 Laredo. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. Final game of the 3-game set between the Airhogs and the Lemurs. And Laredo is up 3-0 going to the bottom of the second inning against Trevor Hardin. The Lemurs batted around in the first, and they'll lead it off with Nick Van Straten once again, who reached on an error and scored a run in the first inning. Hardin winds up and delivers the first pitch to Van Straten. Strike 1 called. Van Straten now 0 for 10 in this series, but has reached base on errors 3 times against Grand Prairie in these 3 games. That's low to Van Straten that time from Hardin, and it's a ball and a strike. Hardin now ready to deliver the 1-1. Here it comes, driven into left field, going a long way, but Brian Myro goes back and makes the catch for out number 1. Well, Trevor Hardin did give up 3 runs in that first inning, but they were all unearned. Van Stratton reaching on the error by Jimmy Mojica and then later scoring, so that was unearned. And there would have been 3 outs before the first run was scored by Van Stratton on the sac fly. The next batter, Phipps, pops this one high in the air to shallow right field, and Frazier Hall in a few steps. He makes the catch, and Hardin needing only 1 pitch to retire Phipps there for out number 2. So the ERA won't be affected by that first inning by the Lemurs for Trevor Hardin. And now he has 2 quick outs against the Lemurs in this second inning and brings up Travis Denker. Denker drew a walk in the first and later scored. Travis Denker last night drove in 3 runs, going 2 for 3, which gives him 78 RBIs this year, leader in the league in that category as well as the home run category, 23 jacks this year. That's upstairs, ball 1. Right-handed batter, right-handed pitcher, Trevor Hardin at 48 pitches now. Here comes pitch number 49. Breaking ball is in there for called strike 1. On deck, John Alonso for the Lemurs, who will face Amarillo next, going back out on the road. This is the final game of the homestand for them. That's in the dirt on the next pitch. 2-1 now to Denker. Airhogs, meanwhile, will make the long trip up to Wichita for another 3-game set with the division-leading Wichita Wingnuts. The 2-1. Upstairs again, 3-1 now to Denker. Hardin allowed 3 walks and also hit a batter in the first inning. The only base hit in the first that a Laredo Lemur was able to grab was the single by J.P. Ramirez. And that drove in Travis Denker as the next pitch is on the ground to Jimmy Mojica. Fields on a very short hop. The throw to first base is in time, and Botts had to make the tag on Denker as he was taken off the bag, but just does so, and it is a 1-2-3 inning for Hardin in the second. So now after 2, it's still 3-0 Laredo here at Unitrade Stadium in the final game of this 3-game set. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. After 2, it's 3-0 Lemurs as the Airhogs will bat, with Jimmy Mojica leading it off. Mojica tonight is 0 for 1 with a fly out to center field. Jeremy Strawn has pitched very well against Grand Prairie so far in his first season and has really pitched well against everybody else. 6 wins in 7 starts for the 23-year-old rookie out of Florida Atlantic. Low on the first pitch to Jimmy Mojica, ball 1. Jimmy Mojica now a .292 batting average. Here comes the next pitch, and it's called strike 1 this time from Strawn, who is the AA pitcher of the month in July with a 4-0 record and an ERA of 2.21. has a complete game shutout against the Air Hogs. Had that on July 27th. Only allowed 5 hits, 1 walk, and got 4 strikeouts against the Hogs in that complete game shutout. Here comes the 2-1 pitch to Mojica. That is driven into right field. Phipps in a few steps and makes the catch. Out number 1 on Mojica. Air Hogs still out hitting Laredo in this game 4-1. But being outscored 3-0. Next batter is Alex Nunez, who has had a very good series. A total of 7 base hits. Here comes the first pitch to Nunez. It's called strike 1. Nunez led off this game with a single, but was put out at home plate trying to score on a single by Brian Myro. Here comes the 0-1. It's low, but it's called strike 2 on the inside corner. And Alex Nunez is getting in the face now of Bill Montgomery, the home plate umpire. He thought it was in the dirt. And now he's going to walk away here from the batter's box for just a little bit. No balls and 2 strikes. Nunez thought that was a little too low. Abel Nieves on deck. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Strawn ready to wind up. Here comes the 0-2. Swing and a miss there. And that will be a strikeout for Strawn. Number 2 on the night. As Nunez shakes his head as he goes back to the dugout. 2 up and 2 down for Strawn as Nieves comes to the plate. Nieves .328 batting average. First pitch is bounced on the ground to shortstop. To his right goes Goodwin, out of his glove, and no longer has a play as he was going straight to his right side. We'll see what this is ruled. And it is going to be a base hit. And it would have been a very tough play for Devin Goodwin, even if he did catch it cleanly into his glove. Would have had to make an against-the-grain throw over to first base to catch Abel Nieves. So that'll be a hit for Nieves. After a strikeout in the first inning, it brings up Jason Botts. First pitch to Jason is called strike 1 on the inside corner. Botts had a single in the first inning, his first single of this 3-game set. Switch hitter batting lefty against Strawn, the righty on the mound. Run around first, 2 gone in the third. 0-1 pitch to the plate. Bouncer to the right side. Denker scoops it up, throws across his body, gets the out on Botts for out number 3. So no runs, a hit, and a man left by the Air Hogs. We'll go to the bottom of the third, and the score is still 3-0 Lemurs. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Welcome back. Air Hogs and Lemurs in the final game of this 3-game set. Laredo on top 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the third. Trevor Harden allowed 3 runs in the first, but then got a 1-2-3 inning in the third. And will face the cleanup hitter John Alonso in the third inning now. Alonso, a sacrifice fly in the first inning to bring in the first run of the game for Laredo. That now gives John Alonso 55 RBIs on the season. He swings and misses into the mitt of Brian Peterson there, and it's 0-1. J.P. Ramirez and Devin Goodwin up after Alonso. As Harden starts his windup. And the pitch is bounced on the ground to third base. Nieves scoops it to his left side and throws long to first base for the out on Alonso. Now the batter is J.P. Ramirez. Ramirez a single in the first inning. Also scored a run in the first. Trevor Harden allowing 3 runs, but they were all unearned in the first inning. There was one error that wouldn't have put Van Stratton on base and would have allowed for Harden to have 3 outs without any trouble as the next pitch is hit long into left center field. But Brian Myro goes all the way back to the warning track to keep that in and keep it from bouncing on the dirt there for J.P. Ramirez. A long drive is out number 2. Now the shortstop, Devin Goodwin, will bat. Goodwin drew a walk in the first inning. Two outs, nobody on base for Harden, who has now sat down the last 5 Laredo batters. Strike one called to Goodwin on the outside corner. Goodwin this season has had quite a fine year for the Laredo Lemurs. 15 home runs. He had one on Tuesday night as he pops one foul over the roof here at Unitrade Stadium, and it's no balls and 2 strikes. He's got a batting average of .301 this year, 15 homers, 59 runs batted in. Time called as Devin Goodwin goes back to the dugout and wants to get more grip on his bat there. No balls and 2 strikes the count. Trevor Harden needed 43 pitches to get out of the first, but has controlled the pitch count now since that first inning, getting a 1-2-3 second, and now has only thrown 5 pitches in this third inning to get 2 outs already. So starting to settle down a little bit more here as he nods and winds up for the 0-2 to Goodwin. This is driven a long way into left. Myro not even going to chase it as it goes over the fence for a home run. And Devin Goodwin with the second home run of this series. And 16 on the year for the shortstop from Homewood, Alabama. He rounds the bases on that solo shot and makes it 4-0 Laredo in the third. So now the batter will be Byron Wiley, who drove in a run on a walk in the first inning with the bases loaded. Wiley, a left-handed batter against Harden, the right-handed pitcher. He looks at called strike one on the outside corner from Harden. So Harden now with his first earned run allowed in this game on that home run by Goodwin. Here comes the 0-1 to Wiley. It's a changeup, and it's in there again, called strike 2. Trevor Harden is a 26-year-old right-hander who last played for the Lincoln Salt Dogs, and before that was in the Frontier League playing for Rockford last season. That's in the dirt again. He's actually 25 years old, His birthday is September 1st, so getting close. A ball and 2 strikes to Byron Wiley with Carlos Ramirez on deck. Looking in is Harden. Now he starts his windup. The 1-2 is on the way. Little inside, and Wiley leaning back. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Here comes Harden with the 2-2 pitch, and it's bounced on the ground slowly to first base. Bonts will pick it up, but now go to first, and safe is the call as Harding couldn't get to the bag in time. And Wiley was able to beat out that slow ground ball to first base. Botts couldn't get to the bag quick enough, so had to flip to his pitcher. And Wiley hustling the entire way, so he gets an infield single. Just the second or the third base hit of the game by Laredo with a 4-0 lead. Next batter is Carlos Ramirez. Ramirez drove in a run in the first after being hit by a pitch with the bases loaded. Right-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. A runner on first and 2 outs in the bottom of the third. Harding with the pitch, and it's hit high in the air to center field. Baker going to his right side as well as going backwards, and now will finally make the catch to end the third inning. So no 1-run scores on 2 hits. Devin Goodwin with the solo shot to make it 4-0 Laredo after 3 innings here at Unitrade Stadium. We'll be back here listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball. Welcome back. The Grand Prairie Airhogs down 4-0 as we start the 4th inning here in Laredo. Take a look at some other scores around the league. Fargo-Moorhead and Quebec are playing a doubleheader right now after that game was postponed yesterday. 2-1, the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks won the first game, and the second game is being led by the Quebec Capitals 3-1 in the top of the 5th. First pitch from Jeremy Strawn to Brian Myro is slowly bounced to the first base side, and Alonso will pick it up and take it to the bag himself. 1 pitch, 1 out for Strawn in the 4th inning. Other scores around the league, Winnipeg and St. Paul are tied at 4 in the bottom of the 5th. Amarillo at home are leading the Kansas City T-Bones 5-4. That's also in the top of the 5th inning. Top of the 6th in Sioux City. Right now the Explorers getting shut out by Lincoln so far, 3-0. And New Jersey, in the bottom of the 5th, are up on the Sioux Falls Canaries 6-1. So that's a look at your out-of-town scoreboard. 1 out for the next batter, Brian Peterson, who looks at strike 1 from Jeremy Strawn. Peterson grabbed a single to lead off the 2nd inning. Against his former club, played 95 games for the Lemurs last year, batting .305 as the starting catcher. It is low on the next pitch, ball 1. Brian Peterson has many a story to tell in his 15-year career, playing for many different minor league systems in his time playing professionally. That is called strike 2. On a changeup there from Strawn, who's had the Airhogs number as well as really the number of any other team that he has faced so far this season. Every time that he's had the start, Laredo has gotten the win. That's swung on and tipped foul by Strawn, or by Peterson, I should say, on the pitch from Strawn, and it's still a ball and 2 strikes with Frazier Hall on deck. Jeremy Strawn's older brother, Josh, is also on the Laredo pitching staff. Josh was a former Grand Prairie Air Hog and made the start against Grand Prairie on Tuesday. Here comes the 1-2. Swung on, and the bat is flying as the ground ball to third base is picked up by Kane, and just in time to get the out on Peterson at first base there, but the bat seemed to break in pieces, and it looks like the bulk of the bat there was flying in the air towards Harrison Kane on the third base side, and he shuffled to his left to make the fielding play and then threw to first just in time to beat Brian Peterson. That would have been a very dangerous play if it were in the direct path of Harrison Kane. But instead, 2 outs, and now the batter, Frazier Hall. Jeremy Strawn winds up to deliver to Hall. Here's the first pitch, and it's low for ball 1. Hall flew out to left field in the first inning, or in the second inning, I should say, in his first at-bat. He's 0 for 1. Here comes Strawn with the 0-1 pitch, driven into left again, this time a little shallow, and Wiley comes in and makes this stop. Came in a few steps and then had to go to his right side, but his glove was on his right hand, and it was an easy line drive catch for out number 3. A 1-2-3 inning for Strawn, and we go to the bottom of the 4th with the score still 4-0 in favor of the Lemurs here at Unitrade Stadium. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. 4-0, the Lemurs lead it as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Harrison Kane to lead it off for the Lemurs, with Trevor Harden still on the mound. Harden's pitch count was driven up exponentially in the first inning, 43 pitches, but has settled down since then. For the most part, he has given up a home run to Devin Goodwin, but the first pitch to Kane is hit sharply to Abel Nieves on the ground, but Nieves not making any mistakes there on that ground ball, and it's 1 pitch, 1 out for Harden as Kane is retired. Now the batter will be Nick Van Straten. 0 for 2 tonight, reached first base on an error by the shortstop Mojica in the first inning and then later scored. But he is 0 for 11 in this series against the Airhawks. Batting average for Nick Van Straten is now at .342. He has 5 home runs and 41 runs batted in. Right-handed batter, right-handed pitcher, and Harden delivers a pitch in the dirt to Van Straten for ball 1. Van Straten is from Birmingham, Missouri. That's also where he played his college ball at St. Louis Community College. Here is the 1-0. It's a breaking ball again. A little low this time for ball 2. Van Stratton, 8th best batting average in the league, and now he faces a 2-0 inside. 3 balls and no strikes now to Van Stratton, who has an on-base percentage of .398 on the year, as well as a slugging of .454. Takes a pitch low, but it's called strike one on the lower third of the zone by home plate umpire Bill Montgomery. 3-1 the count to Van Stratton. Dennis Phipps on deck. Harden going quickly. The 3-1 is in there again, called strike two. Outside edge work that time, and now Harden fighting back to a full count. Here comes the payoff pitch to Van Stratton. Swung on, tipped into the screen. Airhogs are out-hitting Laredo 5-3, but being outscored 4-0. Laredo scored 3 runs on just 1 hit, as well as 1 Airhogs error in the first. As Harden delivers, the payoff pitch again. Popped foul again by Van Stratton over the roof. Van Stratton played for Sioux Falls last year and posted the 2nd-best batting average in the league, behind Abel Nieves, who was with Wichita. Payoff pitch again. It is high for ball 4, and Van Stratton will take first for the 2nd time tonight. 1 out, a man on, and now Dennis Phipps will bat. Phipps in 48 games with Laredo has an on-base of .458 and a slugging of .635. Has been very effective as the right fielder for Laredo since coming to the team in mid-June. Here's the first pitch from Harden. It's upstairs again, ball 1. Phipps 0 for 2 tonight with a couple of flyouts and was 0 for 4 last night. And he's also looking for his first base hit of this series. Or excuse me, no he's not. He had 3 on Tuesday night. I was still looking at Van Stratton's stats. Now here comes the 1-0. And it is in there for called strike one. A curveball from Trevor Harden. And he couldn't really place that well in the first. And that's why his pitch count went so high. He allowed 3 walks and also hit a batter in the first inning. Here's the 1-1 to Phipps inside on the fastball. 2-1 the count with Travis Denker on deck for Laredo. Airhogs after tonight will face Laredo 3 more times at home on August 18th through the 20th. That's the series they have after their next road series in Wichita. That's outside from Trevor Harden, and it's 2 or 3 balls and 1 strike. Phipps is a native of the Dominican Republic and last played for Louisville in the Chicago White Sox minor league system. Another 29-year-old veteran. The 3-1 is upcoming. Here it is, runner going, and it's popped foul over the screen by Phipps. Van Stratton has had some heads-up base running in this game so far. Advanced to second base on a fly ball to left, and then advanced to third on a wild pitch by Trevor Harden. But it didn't bounce very far away from Brian Peterson. Van Stratton used his speed to make sure there was no play at the third base bag. Another full count. Here's the payoff pitch to Phipps. And it is called strike 3. Phipps maybe thought it was ball 4, but now he's walking back to the dugout on the first base side. It's out number 2. Now Harden has a strikeout. That's his first one of the night. Two gone, a runner on first. Travis Denker will bat. Denker scored a run in the first inning after drawing a walk. He is 0 for 1 so far tonight. Denker drove in 3 runs last night, going 2 for 3. And that's been something that Laredo has been very familiar with. Denker, the leader in both home runs and RBIs on the season in the league, since coming from Lancaster in the Atlantic League, where he played last season and did just as well hitting. First pitch is a breaking ball in the dirt, blocked by Peterson, and it's ball 1. Well, it appears that the wind has really been more rapid this day than it has the first couple of days here at Unitrade Stadium. There was some rain on Tuesday, and then last night it was relatively calm, but the wind is staying true to its word tonight. The runner is going on the next pitch, and Van Straten will steal the bag at second as the throw is too high from Brian Peterson for Nunez to try and make a tag. And Van Straten earns stolen base number 14 on the year. So now a runner in scoring position for Denker, and he's thrived in these situations this year. Denker hitting with an average of .320 with runners on scoring position. 1-1 the count, and here comes the pitch from Hardin. Low again. And now 2-1 to Denker, the California native. Trevor Hardin has now surpassed the 80 pitch mark. As the 2-1 comes. It's on the ground to the middle. Mojica dives but can't stop it. It rolls into center, and rounding third is Van Straten. He will score. And another RBI single for Denker. That gives him 79 on the year. And it makes the score 5-0 Laredo at their home stadium in the last game of this 7-game homestand for them. Now the batter is John Alonso with a runner on first and 2 outs. Alonso drove in a run on a sac fly in the first. Last time up, grounded out to third. Cleanup hitter batting righty against Hardin, the right-handed pitcher. Now Hardin steps off the rubber. Denker leading off, not really fazed by Hardin looking over there. Now 4 base hits for the Lemurs. Airhogs still out hitting him 5-4, even though Laredo well on top here in the early going, as the breaking ball is inside from Hardin for ball 1 to Alonso. Alonso is from Orlando, Florida, 28-year-old veteran, and led the Laredo Lemurs with 15 home runs last year. It's low again, ball 2 from Trevor Hardin, who has had troubles throwing strikes here, especially in the first inning. Settled down in the second and third, but now has given up yet another run to make it 5-0 Laredo. Here comes the 2-0 from Hardin, and it's outside. A snap throw to first is not in time from Brian Peterson, as getting back into the bag is Denker. Now the count is 3 balls and no strikes to John Alonso. Spent a brief time on the DL. Didn't miss too much time, but it's tough to come back from injuries and play as consistently as Alonso has been at a very high level, still with a batting average of .354, which is 6th best in the league. That is a slow bouncer on the ground to the shortstop, Mojica. He'll make the force play at second. Now go to first for a 6-4-3 double play. And they really didn't need the double play there, as it's only going to be out number 3 on the base runner, Travis Denker. Didn't have to go to first base to complete it, but they would have gotten the double play anyway. And after 4 innings here at Unitrade Stadium, it's 5-0 after 1 run on 1 hit for Laredo in the 4th. We'll be back to Unitrade Stadium with the 5th inning. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. Top of the fifth inning. Airhogs trailing 5-0 to Laredo in the final game of this three-game set. Laredo looking for the series sweep and a 7-game winning streak here against the Airhogs. Leadoff batter in the fifth inning, Eric Baker against Jeremy Strawn, who winds up and delivers. Low and in, outside to Baker, who flew out to right field in the first. Ryan Gaspora and Jimmy Mojica are up after Baker as the 1-0 comes from Strawn, and this time it's in there for called strike one. Baker has usually occupied the 9 spot for Grand Prairie this year, but now batting 8th in the lineup. 1-1 pitch is popped over the screen and into the seats at Unitrade Stadium. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Baker just a .265 on base and a .281 slugging in his first professional season, 26 years old, and played his college ball at Rogers State, but didn't jump right into professional baseball out of college as he drives the next pitch into left field on the 1-2 from Strawn, and Baker grabs a base hit to extend his hitting streak to 5 games. Airhogs have now led 3 of the first 5 innings with a single, but still no runs across the board as they have left 4 men on base. Ryan Gaspora up now. He popped up in foul territory to the third baseman in the second inning. Leading off Baker with nobody out. Here's the first pitch to Gaspora, and it's outside for ball 1. Gaspora activated yesterday by the Airhogs, who released Vince DeFazio as well. Gaspora has been the bullpen catcher for the Airhogs for the majority of this season. Here's the 1-0, and it's taken for called strike one. Gaspora, 24 years old and the California native. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Strawn set again. And now here comes the pitch. That's inside to Gaspora that time, and it's 2-1. Gaspora still looking for his first base hit of the season. Went 0 for 4 against Wichita way back on June 23rd. That's the only game that he has played officially for the Airhogs this year. Now in his second game of the season. Here's the 2-1. Swung on, foul tipped into the mitt of Carlos Ramirez. Even counted 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jimmy Mojica on deck. Gaspora the DH and will likely serve as the backup catcher now for Brian Peterson. Strawn set from the stretch, and here comes the 2-2. That is popped foul, and it'll land out of play on the left side. So Gaspora still at 2-2. He fought to a 10-pitch at-bat in the second inning against Jeremy Strawn, and now trying to do the same here, looking for a pitch to hit. Baker on first with nobody out in the top of the fifth inning, and the Airhogs down by 5 runs. Here's another 2-2 from Jeremy Strawn. Little inside, and this time Gaspora working to a full count. Airhogs now 6 base hits, but no runs. And the Lemurs have scored 5 runs on just 4 hits. Strawn set again. A move to first base. Baker diving in. Safely there under the tag. Baker this season is 4 for 8 in stolen base attempts. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Ryan Gaspora. Strawn now delivers, runner going, but it's ball 4 anyway. As Gaspora will reach base for the first time this season. To put runners on first and second base with nobody out. Jeremy Strawn in 3 starts against the Airhogs has only allowed 3 total runs. And that's also a total of 18 innings pitched, only 3 runs allowed. As Mojica is the next batter, he will look at strike 1 on a changeup. corner infielders were half expecting a bunt from Mojica with runners on first and second base, but instead Mojica not showing bunt there. He's 0 for 2 tonight, and he calls time to kick dirt around the batter's box and dig in again. Crowd trying to distract their former shortstop here as the 0-1 comes to the plate, and it's outside from Strawn on a fastball. 1-1 the count to Mojica, 30-year-old veteran, and spent the last 2 seasons here in Laredo. Led the team with 61 runs driven in 2013, and said he would retire at the end of the year, but then this season signed with Grand Prairie. 1-1 pitch is low from Strawn, and it's now a 2-1 strike count. Corner infielders still shifted in, just making sure that they're not fooled by a bunt shown by Jimmy Mojica on any one of these pitches in this at-bat. Alex Nunez is on deck. Here comes the 2-1. Swung on, driven well into left field, going back wildly towards the warning track. Another nice catch over his head, and Baker now racing towards third base as he tags at second, and he will get in safely on out number 1. So now it's runners at the corners for the Air Hogs, and the next batter will be Alex Nunez. Nunez 1 for 2 tonight. Last time up he struck out swinging. Nunez, a 33-year-old veteran, a native of Venezuela. Joined the Air Hogs in mid-June. Now he has played 51 games for the team. Has 13 extra base hits, 22 runs batted in. First pitch driven right to the first baseman, John Alonso, and he steps on the bag to double up Ryan Gaspora, and that will be a double play. On the line out by Alex Nunez, and a quick motion there by Alonso to turn that double play. After 4.5 innings, it is still 5-0 as the Air Hogs are held scoreless in the 5th on 1 hit, and they leave 2 men on base. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. We'll be back with the bottom of the 5th inning. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. 5-0. The Lemurs on top as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. It's a new pitcher in there for the Air Hogs as the right-hander Hayden Shirley will come in for his first appearance as a member of the Air Hogs. Was signed by the team on Sunday and has been traveling with the team to Laredo ever since. Shirley comes here by way of Windy City in the Frontier League. Last season he played for the Fort Worth Cats and Rockford. So now he is a rookie in his 2nd professional year. Hayden Shirley is 24 years old, a right-hander out of the bullpen. And he comes in relief of Trevor Harden, who only lasted 4 innings in this start, allowing 5 runs, but only 2 of them were earned on 4 hits, 4 walks, and a strikeout for Harden, and it wasn't the best of outings for him. So Shirley is in for this 5th inning, and the batter will be J.P. Ramirez to lead things off in the 5th for Laredo. Ramirez is 1 for 2 tonight with a single and a run scored in the 1st inning. Shirley delivers, and it's called strike 1. Hayden Shirley working from the stretch with nobody on base. The 0-1 comes to Peterson, and it's behind Peterson now for ball 1. J.P. Ramirez this season for Laredo is hitting .315 with 7 home runs and 51 runs driven in. Shirley sets, and here comes the 1-1 pitch. Check swing, a little low. Shirley played his college ball at Harding University. He lives in Louisville, Texas. Left-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher. And the 1-2 is on the ground to Jimmy Mojica, and he easily picks that one up and throws to first. 1 down. Next batter, Devin Goodwin, who last time up drove a solo home run to left field. 16th home run of the season, and he now has 60 runs batted in. Goodwin now in the American Association is tied for 4th in the league in home runs. As the pitch comes from Hayden Shirley, it's low for ball 1. And now in the RBI race, he is tied with Jason Botts for 6th in the league. Shirley with the 1-0. It's in there this time for called strike 1. On deck for the Lemurs is Byron Wiley. Right-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Hayden Shirley, the rookie, will now deliver to Goodwin on the 1-1. A breaking ball is outside. 2 balls and a strike to Devin Goodwin, 27-year-old, last season a Kansas City T-Bone. He lives in Homewood, Alabama. Here comes the 2-1. It is on the outside corner this time for called strike 2. Goodwin, known all-star shortstop, as well as the American Association All-Star Game MVP. Going 2 for 5 in the game with a double and a home run. The pitch from Shirley is called strike 3 on the outside corner, and Shirley gets his first strikeout in this league. 2 down now in the 5th, and Byron Wiley will bat. Wiley last time up singled on an infield hit to the first baseman Botts. He's reached twice tonight. First time up, he drew a walk in the 1st inning with the bases loaded, so he does have an RBI as well. First pitch to Wiley, called strike 1 on a fastball right down the middle. Wiley, a left-handed batter against Shirley, the right-handed pitcher. Wiley is from Tomball, Texas, and is 27 years old. Here's the pitch. It is popped foul over our press box at Unitrade Stadium on the 3rd base line. And it's no balls and 2 strikes to Wiley. Another former Kansas City T-Bone. He played for the team earlier this season and is now in his 29th game as a member of the Lemurs. Here comes the 0-2. Breaking ball is outside, and that was a real change of speed there from Shirley. That one didn't look to be over 70 miles per hour by any means, but it is ball 1 outside. And now here's the 1-2. Inside this time, and that was a fastball from Shirley. Even counted 2 balls and 2 strikes. Carlos Ramirez on deck. Wind is kicking up, blowing the jersey and the pants of Hayden Shirley on the mound. as well as everybody else in the Air Hogs in the field. 2-2 pitch popped high in the air, foul down the left side. Flags are completely outstretched on the flagpoles in left center field from the wind blowing from right to left. We've got the Six Flags Over Texas here at Unitrade Stadium, including the American flag. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Wiley. Here is the pitch from Shirley, just a little low. Shirley wanted it for strike 3, but instead it's a full count to Wiley. Air Hogs went 7-7 against Laredo last year. This season they're 7-9 and in danger of losing their 10th to the Lemurs as the next pitch is popped high in the air. Brian Peterson drifting over to his left side but doesn't have a play as it bounces on the roof. Still a jam full count to Byron Wiley in this at-bat. Hayden Shirley in his first appearance as a member of the Air Hogs. Earlier this season played for Windy City in the Frontier League. Here comes the 3-2 from Shirley upstairs, ball 4. Second walk drawn by Wiley. And now that'll bring up Carlos Ramirez, who last time up flew out to center field, but has an RBI tonight after being hit by a pitch with the bases loaded in the first inning. That was a 3-run first that forced Trevor Harden to pitch 43 pitches. Carlos Ramirez now has had at least 1 RBI in each of these 3 games in the series as he looks at ball 1 high from Shirley. Ramirez last night drove in 2 runs on a double and a solo shot. And then on Tuesday, he went 1 for 5 with an RBI single. Brian Peterson goes out to the mound to talk with Shirley before the 1-0 pitch. Hayden Shirley replacing Thomas Keeling on the roster. Keeling had to go on the DL after injuring his right arm in a game on Saturday night, last Saturday that is, against the Amarillo Sox. That's inside to Ramirez, and it's 2-0. Shirley had been working out, throwing a few bullpens for the Air Hogs before Keeling had to go to the DL, and then Eric Champion deciding to give him a contract. As the 2-0 comes, runner going. It's outside. Peterson throws to second base. It's high again, and Nunez has to leap to make the stop, and Wiley will steal the bag easily. And Byron Wiley now with 2 stolen bases as a member of the Lemurs. As it's now a 3-0 count on Carlos Ramirez with Harrison Kane on deck. 5-0 is the score in favor of Laredo in the bottom of the 5th. Hayden Shirley in relief of Trevor Harden delivers the 3-0, and it's upstairs. A 4-pitch walk to Carlos Ramirez. Second straight walk allowed by Shirley. Two outs and 2 men on base for Harrison Kane. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Reached on a fielder's choice in the first. And in the 4th inning, he grounded out to third base. Kane on the season hitting .272. Has a couple of home runs and 23 runs driven in. Shirley delivers, and it's outside for ball 1. 5 straight pitches out of the zone from Shirley. Actually make that 6 straight. As the walk on ball 4 to Wiley, and then a 4-pitch walk to Carlos Ramirez. Now the 1-0 is upcoming to Kane. Here it is from Shirley. Swung on, tipped into the screen. And it's a ball and a strike. Well, Laredo jumping out to the lead in this one. Unlike the other 2 games where the Air Hogs scored first and Laredo had to come back. And the Air Hogs really have not had an answer for Jeremy Strawn in these last few weeks. Right now getting shut out through 5 innings as the pitch from Shirley is swung on and missed by Kane. Actually got a little foul tip there into the mid of Brian Peterson. It's a ball and 2 strikes. So this deficit right now is looking like a pretty high one to climb for the Airhogs against Jeremy Strawn, who has pitched phenomenally in the last month. Here's the 1-2. Swung on and missed on the fastball, and Shirley gets a couple of strikeouts after 2 walks in the 5th inning. So 2 men left on base by the Lemurs on no hits, and we'll go to the 6th here in Laredo as the Lemurs still lead at 5-0 over the Airhogs. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Now the top of the 6th inning at Unitrade Stadium. Lemurs leading 5-0 on the Airhogs. First batter of the 6th inning, Abel Nieves, the all-star third baseman for Grand Prairie. He is 1 for 2 tonight. But the Airhogs still looking for their first run against Jeremy Strawn tonight. They have 6 base hits against him. But Strawn has been dealing in this 8th start of the season as he delivers strike 1 to Abel Nieves. Strawn riding a 5-game winning streak and has won 6 of his last 7 starts. Low, but called strike 2. And Abel throwing his hands up in the air in frustration. And Alex Nunez did the same thing and had a few choice words for Bill Montgomery, the home plate umpire. It's 0-2 the count, and Strawn winds up for the next pitch to Nieves. It is driven over the head of Denker into right center field, and it will die for Nick Van Straten to get there in time. It'll be a single for Abel Nieves. Well, the Airhogs have had the base runners tonight, but just haven't been able to bring them around for runs in this game against Jeremy Strawn of the Lemurs, who has thrown a complete game shutout against Grand Prairie this year. It was back on July 27th. Now Jason Botts the batter. Botts tonight 1 for 2 with a single. And here comes the first pitch. It is popped foul over the screen. Airhogs have led 4 of the first 6 innings of this game with a base hit. So it's not to say that the Airhogs haven't had the base runners tonight, but they've just been stranding them on the base pads here so far, and that's been a problem that they've had in the last couple of weeks, especially against Amarillo in their last home series, as Botts looks at strike 2 on the low and outside corner. Brian Myro on deck. Switch hitter batting lefty against Jeremy Strawn, the right-handed pitcher, in inning number 6. Here is the next pitch. It's on the ground to third base. Kane to second. Denker steps on the bag, now throws to first. Is it in time? Yes, it is. Botts was beaten by shorter than a half step there at the first base bag by Denker. And it's a 5-4-3 double play, emptying the bases for the Air Hogs with 2 outs. So now Brian Myro will bat for the 3rd time tonight. Myro singled in the 1st inning and grounded out to first base in the 4th. Strawn delivers the first pitch. Myro pops it high in the air, foul over our press box on the 3rd base side. Myro almost had an RBI in the 1st inning, but Alex Nunez was tagged out at home plate on his single. Here is the 0-1, and it is driven into right field. Another base hit, and Myro will stop at first base as Phipps brings it back into the diamond. And a little bit of confusion out there in the infield as Phipps overthrew the cutoff man, Travis Denker, and it came off of the glove of Devin Goodwin backing him up, but Myro wasn't really paying attention there. Trying to take second base, and it would have been tough anyway. So now a runner on first and 2 outs for Brian Peterson. 8th base hit of the game for the Air Hogs. They're out-hitting Laredo 8-4, but they're being outscored 5-0 as the ground ball is slid and caught by Harrison Kane, and he throws to first base, and a nice defensive stop by Harrison Kane at 3rd base. Sliding just near the foul line to make the stop on Brian Peterson and making a long throw to end the top of the 6th. So no runs on 2 hits, a man left by the Air Hogs. Still 5-0 Lemurs going to the bottom of the 6th here in Laredo. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Welcome back to Laredo, Texas, Unitrade Stadium. Bottom of the 6th inning, Laredo 5, Grand Prairie nothing. As Hayden Shirley will be out for another inning in relief of Trevor Harden in this 6th inning. First batter he faces, Nick Van Straten. Van Straten at the top of the order, followed by Dennis Phipps and Travis Denker. And Van Straten still looking for his first base hit of the series. Van Straten looks at called strike 1. He has scored 2 runs tonight, reaching on an error and a walk. Right-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. And here comes the 0-1 from Shirley. It's low and away for ball 1. A very odd game in which the Air Hogs have out-hit Laredo 8-4, but are being outscored 5-0. Laredo jumped out to the lead 3-0 in the first and have tacked on runs in the third and fourth inning as Van Stratton tips that one foul into Brian Peterson, and it goes back to the backstop. A ball and 2 strikes. Van Stratton, the all-star center fielder for Laredo, and was an all-star for Sioux Falls last year. A 29-year-old veteran and a Missouri native. Here's the 1-2. Outside again on the changeup from Shirley. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Van Stratton with Dennis Phipps on deck. Hayden Shirley, a rookie in his second professional year. Played his college ball at Harding University. The 2-2 to Van Stratton is swung on and foul tipped. It'll go behind Peterson to keep the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Shirley making his first appearance as a member of the Air Hogs, signed by the team on Sunday. Earlier this season played for the Windy City Cats. Next pitch, popped high in the air. Brian Peterson now trying to position underneath it, now can't get there as it falls to his left side, and Peterson was fooled by the wind as the pop-up in foul territory pushed to the left side, and Peterson tried to locate it into the Laredo sky, but instead it falls for a foul ball, and Van Stratton will be back at the home plate. Van Stratton, a .398 on base percentage in 79 games this year. Truly impressive for his veteran there, and that's upstairs for ball 3. Hayden Shirley now up to 31 pitches in these innings here as the ground ball is to the middle. Alex Nunez from his knees tried to make the throw to first base. It wasn't in time as Van Stratton finally reaches on an infield single for his first base hit of the game, or of the series, that is. Now Dennis Phipps will bat. He is 0 for 3 tonight. He struck out looking in the 4th inning. And 0 for his last 7 as well. So Van Stratton with his first base hit of the series, and now Phipps hits this deep into right field, but not deep enough as Frazier Hall settles underneath it. The wind helped out Frazier there a little bit, pushing it back towards his position, and that will be out number 1 in the 6th. So Van Stratton still on first, and Travis Denker will bat now. Denker tonight is 1 for 2. Last time up, he drove in a run on a single in the 4th inning. Five runs on 5 hits for Laredo. No runs on 8 hits for Grand Prairie. Airhogs do have 1 error, and it was a costly one in the first by Jimmy Mojica, allowing Nick Van Stratton to get on base. Airhogs would have gotten out of the inning without any runs allowed by Laredo if it weren't for that error, as diving back into the bag on the pickoff move is Van Stratton, who does have a stolen base tonight. Denker also has a run scored in the 1st inning after drawing a walk. Righty versus righty as Shirley sets. Here comes the first pitch to Denker, and it's upstairs for ball 1. John Alonso, the cleanup hitter, is on deck for the Lemurs. Shirley still allowing no runs here in this relief appearance tonight, and now trying to get through another scoreless inning as he delivers an 0-1 outside to Denker. 2 balls and no strikes to the 29-year-old veteran from Brea, California. Had a home run last night to give him 23 on the year, and now he leads the league in RBIs as well with 79. 2 balls, no strikes. Runner on first, 1 out. In the bottom of the 6th, here comes the pitch to Denker. Low again, and it's now 3-0. Airhogs pitching has allowed 6 walks and 1 hit batsman to Laredo tonight, contributing to how the Lemurs have scored so many runs on so few hits. Here is the 3-0, driven into left. Will it fall into fair territory? Yes, it will. Careens off the wall. Brian Myro chasing. Stopping at third is Van Straten. The throw to second is not in time, as that's a double for Travis Denker. And it puts a couple of runners in scoring position for John Alonso, the cleanup hitter. Travis Denker now with double number 15 on the season. John Alonso tonight 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. That drove in the first Laredo run. And now has a chance to drive in a few more as the Airhogs infield shifts into the grass. The first pitch from Shirley is in there for called strike 1 on the lower third of the zone. And it appears that Bill Montgomery has a pretty low strike zone tonight. Airhogs batters have figured that out. Shirley set again. Here is the 0-1 to Alonso, and it's a little outside that time. Looked to be placed well vertically, but not horizontally, as it's a ball and a strike now to Alonso with J.P. Ramirez on deck. Runners on second and third and only 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. Airhogs already down 5-0 to Laredo. Here's the 1-1, swung on, foul tipped into the screen by Alonso, a ball and 2 strikes. Trevor Harden had to leave after just 4 innings of work. He threw 43 pitches in the first inning, and that's ultimately what led to him being pulled so early in this game. And we'll see how long Shirley can go. He said he hasn't started in over a year and a half, as the 1-2 is low, but gets past Peterson, and scoring is Van Straten to make it 6-0 Lemurs. Not sure if that's a pass ball or a wild pitch, but that appeared to be a pitch that could have been handled easily by Brian Peterson. We'll see what the official ruling is in just a little bit, but now runner on third base and still only 1 out. The count's now 2-2 to John Alonso. Here comes the pitch from Shirley, popped high in the air in the infield. And Alex Nunez will let Jimmy Mojica take it, and he makes the catch for out number 2. So now still a runner at third base, 2 away. Next batter, J.P. Ramirez, the DH. Ramirez, a single and a run scored in the first inning. Last time up, he grounded out to shortstop. Left-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher as the infield goes back to normal depth with a runner on third and 2 outs. Here's the first pitch. Check swing up high, ball 1. Still unclear as to whether it was a wild pitch or a pass ball. Scoring the run for the Lemurs in this 6th inning to make it 6-0. Here is the pitch, and it's called strike 1, making it a ball and a strike to J.P. Ramirez. In his 3rd professional year now. Last season was with the Sioux Falls Canaries. It is a wild pitch to Hayden Shirley, allowing the run to score on that last Laredo run. As the next pitch to Ramirez is popped foul, and it's a ball and 2 strikes the count. Second wild pitch for Airhogs pitching tonight. One ball and 2 strikes against J.P. Ramirez. Runner on third, 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th here in Laredo. Shirley with the 1-2. called strike 3, and that's the third strikeout of the game for Shirley. And he ends the 6th inning with a K, but does allow 1 run on 2 hits, and 1 man is left on base for Laredo. Going to the 7th here in Laredo, Texas, the Airhogs still trailing, and now it's 6-0 to the deficit. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. The top of the 7th inning is now about to get underway as Frazier Hall will lead it off for the Airhogs. The 7, 8, 9 hitters due up. That's Hall, Baker, and Gaspora. Jeremy Strawn's still out there, still scoreless through 6 innings against the Airhogs. Has 1 complete shutout against them this year on July 27th, the month in which he won the American Association Pitcher of the Month award here in this league as he delivers strike 1 to Frazier Hall, who has flown out twice to left field. Now quickly, here's the 0-1 from Strawn. Bouncer on the ground to the right side. Denker will be the one to pick it up, and short throw to first base, and that is out number 1 on Frazier Hall. So now in the top of the 7th inning, we'll take a look at some other scores around the American Association. A doubleheader in Quebec in an interleague matchup between them and the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks. First game was won by Fargo 2-1. And the second game, Quebec won it 7-1. That one's final now as strike 1 is delivered to Eric Baker on the inside edge. Baker tonight 1 for 2. Another final score, Lincoln shuts out Sioux City 3-0 in Sioux City, as that was not a check swing from Baker. He's saying he went around for strike 2. Other scores, Winnipeg on top of St. Paul 6-4 in the bottom of the 8th. Top of the 8th inning in Amarillo, 7-4, the Sox are leading the Kansas City T-Bones. And another interleague matchup, the New Jersey Jackals clobbering the Sioux Falls Canaries right now, 9-1. That's in the bottom of the 8th inning in Sioux Falls. Ball 1 outside to Baker. Now a ball and 2 strikes the count with nobody on base and 1 out in this top of the 7th. Strawn with the windup in the 1-2. Driven into left center. Another base hit for Baker. And he's 2 for 3 tonight. Puts himself on base with 1 out. Now the next batter will be the DH, Ryan Gaspora. Gaspora last time up drew a walk. He is 0 for 1 tonight, but that walk is the only time that he has reached base all season in just his second game as a member of the Airhogs, as he delivers, as Strawn delivers, that is. It's outside to Gaspora for ball 1. Gaspora has been the bullpen catcher for the Airhogs for the majority of the year. Last season played for Alexandria and Edinburgh. The pitch from Strawn, line foul down the right side. Sharply hit, but not straight enough, as it careened off of the fencing on the first lip base line, protecting a few of the stands. And it's a ball and a strike to Ryan Gaspar, the 24-year-old rookie. Played his college ball at Centenary College of Louisiana. The 1-1 swung on and missed. Low and away pitch there from Strawn, and he got Gaspar to chase. Now 1-2 the count with Jimmy Mojica on deck. Runner on first, one out. Airhogs need to overcome a 6-run deficit, even though they're out hitting Laredo 9-6. Pitch from Strawn is hit high in the air by Gaspar into left center. Going back Wiley towards the warning track, and he makes another catch. Tagging and going to second is Baker. But that's about the third time tonight that Byron Wiley has made a catch over his head near the warning track in left center field. And has done very well at tracking down the drives into left from the Airhogs tonight, and that's out number 2 on Gaspar. Runner on second, 2 gone, and now the boos rain down on Jimmy Mojica. Mojica 0 for 3 tonight and 0 for 5 last night. So now he is 0 for his last 9 at-bats against Laredo as he looks at ball 1 low. Runner on second base and 2 outs in the 7th inning, and Strawn is setting up another shutout here against the Airhogs as he brings a pitch to the outside to Mojica, and it's now a 2-0 count. Mojica, in addition to Laredo and Grand Prairie, has played for 5 other teams in this league. 2 of them aren't even in the league anymore, St. Joe and Pensacola. He's also played for St. Paul, Kansas City, and Wichita. Long career in the independent leagues as he looks at a pitch low. And it's 3 balls and no strikes with Alex Nunez on deck. Mojica spent some brief time in the Seattle Mariners minor league system with their AA affiliate in the early part of his career. But most of the time that he has spent professionally has been in independent ball and in this league, the American Association. As the catcher Carlos Ramirez is meeting with Jeremy Strawn out on the mound. Strawn's pitch count is up to 94, so doing pretty well through 6 2/3. They keep his pitch count down. 68 of those pitches have been strikes. 3-0 the count. Set is Strawn. Here's the kick and the pitch. And that'll be outside, and it'll be a 4-pitch walk to Jimmy Mojica. So that puts runners on first and second base. Still 2 outs, and now Alex Nunez will try to drive in a run. Nunez has been a hot hitter in this series. 1 for 3 tonight. And overall in this series, he is 10 for 16. Or 10 for 12. Trying to get my math straight here as the pitch is inside to Nunez for ball 1. He was 2 for 4 on Tuesday night, 4 for 5 last night. So he has 7 base hits and 12 at-bats. Just had to get myself straight there as Nunez stands in again. The 1-0 pitch is upcoming from Strawn. Runners on first and second base. Here it is from the rookie, and it's called strike 1 on a breaking pitch. Count moves to 1-1 to Alex Nunez, the left-handed batter, with Abel Nieves on deck. 97 pitches now from Jeremy Strawn, the rookie out of Florida Atlantic University. The 1-1 taken for called strike 2 on the inside corner by Alex Nunez. Nunez, 22 runs driven in on the year for Grand Prairie in 50 games with the team. A .399 on base and a .427 slugging. Here's the 1-2, and it's driven into left field. Wiley charging in and makes the catch on the run. And Nunez robbed of a possible run batted in there as Wiley tracks down the shallow line drive and records out number 3. No runs, 1 hit, 2 men left for the Airhogs. We go to the middle of the 7th, and it's 7th inning stretch time here at Unitrade Stadium. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. 6-0 is the score in favor of Laredo. As we move to the bottom of the 7th, Tobin Matejchuk is now in from the bullpen for the Airhogs. Matejchuk making appearance number 15 on the season. 8.10 ERA, a record of 1-1. Has pitched a total in 13 1/3. A rookie out of Cameron University, just recently turned 24 years old. His birthday was yesterday. He appeared earlier in this series on Tuesday, just before his birthday. And Matejchuk, in that appearance, allowed a home run to Devin Goodwin, but he only was charged with 1 run on just 1 hit and 1 walk in that brief relief appearance on Tuesday night. And he will face Devin Goodwin, who has a home run tonight already. 1 for 2 with that jack, his 16th of the season, as he looks at ball 1 from Matejchuk, who comes in relief of Hayden Shirley, scoring or allowing run on 2 hits, 1 walk and 2 strikeouts in 2 innings of work. Goodwin looks at a pitch upstairs from Matejchuk, and it's 2-0. Byron Wiley and Carlos Ramirez do up next. Righty versus righty. Here comes the pitch from Goodwin, and it's low this time. Moving the count to 3-0. And the last thing you want to do as a relief pitcher just coming into the game is walk the first batter. 3-0 pitch on the way, and that'll be a 4-pitch walk as it's low from Matejchuk. Goodwin on base with his 2nd walk of the night. That's the 7th walk that Airhogs pitching has allowed tonight. And this will bring up Byron Wiley with a runner on first and nobody out. Wiley has drawn 2 walks tonight and also grabbed a single. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Matejcek delivers home, and this one's a strike right down the middle. Matejcek is 6'5", one of the tallest guys on the team. Jason Botts is the tallest air hog at 6'6", but there's a few guys hovering around 6'5" in the pitching staff. Matejcek is one of them, and Dakota Watts is another. The pitch is low to Wiley, 1-1 the count. Here is the pitch from Matejcek. It is driven well, but foul down the right side. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes now to the former Kansas City T-Bone. Last night went 0 for 3 with a run scored. He's now in his 29th game as a member of the Lemurs. Drafted by the Reds in the 08 amateur draft out of Kansas State University. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch is upstairs and outside, a breaking ball from Matejcek, and it's now 2-2. Carlos Ramirez on deck for Laredo with a runner on first and nobody out. 6-0 is the lead for the Lemurs in the bottom of the 7th. Air Hogs out hitting Laredo 9-6. Here's the pitch, and it's called strike 3. Wiley frustrated by that call. He was tossed from last night's game after arguing balls and strikes with David Frame, the home plate umpire, but Bill Montgomery ringing him up that time. One down, and now the batter, Carlos Ramirez. Ramirez is 0 for 1, but he has a run batted in after being hit by a pitch with the bases loaded in the first. Lemurs jumping out to an early lead, 3 runs in the first inning. They've had 2 comeback victories in the first 2 of this series against the Air Hogs as Ramirez looks at strike 1 on the outside corner. Ramirez now has 35 RBIs on the season and 5 home runs. The pitch is popped straight up. Brian Peterson behind home plate to see if he can catch it, and he will not as it bounces into the seats. No balls and 2 strikes to Carlos Ramirez, the 26-year-old catcher. Ramirez in this series is 3 for 9 with a total of 4 runs batted in. So doing relatively well against the Air Hogs in this series. Right-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Matejcek looks at first. Goodwin's leading off. Here's the 0-2. Check swing, a little bit low and away. Appeal at first is confirmed. And it's a ball and 2 strikes to Carlos Ramirez. On deck for the Lemurs, Harrison Kane. Matejcek, the third pitcher used by Grand Prairie, now delivers the 1-2. Low and away again on a fastball, and Peterson had to slide quickly to his right to stop it. And it's an even count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ramirez just batting .229 this year, but doing well tonight against the Air Hogs. Here's the pitch, driven up the middle, a single into center field. And Carlos Ramirez with his first base hit of the night. And that gives him a 3-game hitting streak. Now runners on first and second base. Still only 1 out. The next batter is Harrison Kane. Harrison Kane struck out swinging the last time up. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Runners on first and second base, only 1 out. Bottom of the 7th inning in Laredo. Matejcek set. Now steps off the rubber. Goodwin is leading off at second base. He leads the team with 21 stolen bases on the year. Matejcek delivers the first pitch to Kane. Called strike 1 on the outside corner. Kane played for Laredo last season. He's in his third professional year. First season was with the Amarillo Sox in 2012. And that's going to hit Harrison Kane on the fastball from Matejcek, and it also came off of Brian Peterson. And this will load the bases for Nick Van Straten. Second hit batsman of the night by Air Hogs pitching. And Matejcek now with his 6th plunked batter of the season in just 14 appearances this year. Nick Van Straten is the next batter. Van Straten has scored 3 runs tonight. He is 1 for 2, or 1 for 3, I should say. Last time up, he scored on a wild pitch after grabbing an infield single. Upstairs on the first pitch by Matejcek, and it's ball 1. So bases are loaded with 1 out. Laredo already has a 6-run lead in the bottom of the 7th. Matejcek in. Here is the 1-0. Check swing, but it's called strike 1 on the inside edge of the plate. Dennis Phipps on deck for Laredo as Van Straten digs in here against Tobin Matejcek. The 1-1 is upstairs again, and Van Straten dove down to dodge that pitch high and inside. 2 balls and a strike. So Matejcek getting a little wild in this outing. The rookie out of Cameron University brings the 2-1, and it's swung on and missed. A big, big cut from Van Straten, who's not known as a home run hitter, but this season he has 5 home runs and 41 driven in. Has a big chance here with the bases loaded and only 1 out. The 2-2 on the ground to Nunez, flips to Mojica, throws to Botts, and that's a 4-6-3 double play, and Matejcek escapes the jam with bases loaded and 1 out. No runs allowed to the Lemurs in that 7th inning on just 1 hit and 2 men are left on base. We go to the 8th here in Laredo, and the Lemurs lead it 6-0. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Welcome back. The top of the 8th inning is upcoming as the Air Hogs trail in the series finale against the Laredo Lemurs 6-0. Into the game now is Estevan Uriegas from the bullpen for Laredo. Uriegas this season has an ERA of 8.14, has appeared 32 times this year for the Lemurs. 1-1 record, a total of 24 and a third innings pitched for Uriagas. He is a rookie from Round Rock, Texas. Last played for the Gary South Shore Railcats. He is 24 years old. He comes in relief of Jeremy Strawn, who didn't allow a single run in 7 innings, just 9 hits to the Air Hogs, 2 walks and 2 strikeouts, and well on his way to his 6th consecutive victory. Uriagas was on that championship team last season in the American Association for Gary South Shore. And the first batter he faces is Abel Nieves, who I have forgotten to mention through Nieves' first 3 at-bats of the night. He turns 29 years old today. First pitch to Uriagas is in the dirt for ball 1. Nieves tonight is 2 for 3. So doing well on his birthday. Now 29 years old, and he'll be a veteran next season. Next pitch driven deep into center field, going back Van Stratton, and he cannot make the catch as it goes back to the wall, and that will be a double for Abel Nieves on his 29th birthday, 3 for 4, and he leads off the 8th with a 2-base hit there. Now the next batter will be Jason Botts. Botts tonight is 1 for 3, a single way back in the first. Now has to bat right-handed against the left-handed pitcher, Estevan Uriagas. He's got a fastball, a curveball, a slider, and a changeup in his arsenal. Here's the pitch to Botts, and it's on the outside corner for called strike 1. Botts back at first base, and he's been used at first base for most of the time that Andres Rodriguez has not been with the team. Uriagas now with the 1-0-1 pitch. Low to Botts this time, ball 1. Brian Myro on deck for the Air Hogs. Uriagas is a former Texas A&M Aggie, where he played his college ball. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Botts. That's swung on and missed. Big home run-like cut there for Jason Botts. And if he can pull one, he can let it carry a little further than it usually does with the wind blowing from right to left field. So this is a good situation for Botts here, batting on the right-handed side of the plate. Runner on second, nobody out. Air Hogs being shut out 6-0. So far in the first 7 innings. As the pitch comes from Uriagas, check swing a little low. And an even count now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Uriagas just 5'9" on the pitcher's mound, and Botts probably taller than him even though he's on the pitcher's mound. Botts at 6'6". Driven into left center field, and this will fall for a base hit and go back to the wall as well. Nieves is easily going to score, as Botts may think about 3 bases. No, he won't. Just getting in time for his double, and that drives in the Air Hogs' first run of the game to make it 6-1 Laredo here in the 8th. Botts leads the team now with 23 2-base hits on the season. So still nobody out. A runner in scoring position for Brian Myro. So Uriagas allowing the first run of the game for Grand Prairie, and the first pitch to Myro is half swung at and tipped into the screen for strike 1. Myro tonight is 2 for 3 with a couple of singles. Uriagas now set with Botts leading off at second. Nobody out in the 8th inning. The pitch is another check swing from Brian Myro. No, it's not. Third base umpire David Frame said the Botts went around, and it's no balls and 2 strikes. On deck, the catcher Brian Peterson. As Uriagas looks in to Brian Myro. No balls and 2 strikes. And the left-hander Uriagas delivers to the 37-year-old player coach, who takes it for ball one low. Uriagas, 24 years old. Myro, 37. And now Uriagas delivers the 1-2. It's low again. Gobbled up by Carlos Ramirez behind the dish, and it's now an even count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now the Air Hogs have 1 run on 10 base hits, and the Lemurs have 6 runs on just 7 hits. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The pitch from Uriagas is taken again, and it's a breaking ball low for ball 3. So Myro doing a good job of working in the count after falling behind 0-2. Myro playing in left field tonight. Usually was the DH in the first few games prior to this one. Takes it upstairs and draws ball 4. So now runners on first and second base and still nobody out. Uriagas has failed to retire the first 3 batters he's faced tonight. Next batter he faces is Brian Peterson. The catcher, Carlos Ramirez, is out to talk with Estevan Uriagas on the mound, as well as the first baseman, John Alonso, before the at-bat to Brian Peterson. Uriagas on June 28th against Grand Prairie gave up 9 runs on just 5 hits with 4 walks and 2 strikeouts in the 7th inning. His ERA jumped from 2.94 to 7.71 in that one appearance against the Air Hogs on June 28th. That was a big victory for Grand Prairie, but it looks like Pete Incaviglia is going to yank Uriagas here and go back to the bullpen. So we'll have a change here on the mound for Laredo, with runners on first and second base for the Air Hogs and nobody out in the top of the 8th. Lemurs still with a 6-1 lead. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Air Hogs baseball. It's still the top of the 8th, and the Air Hogs have runners on first and second base with nobody out. Another reliever in for Laredo. It is the right-hander Caleb Graham. Graham this season, a record of 2-1, an ERA of 4.11. Total of 35 innings pitched and 36 appearances this year. Graham is from Lutz, Florida, I should say. Last played in the Los Angeles Angels minor league system for their AA club, Arkansas. 27-year-old right-handed reliever in there for Estevan Uriagas, the left-hander, who only faced 3 batters and didn't get a single out in this top of the 8th. So far, he has given up 1 earned run on 2 hits with 1 walk, and he is responsible for both runners on base at the moment. Brian Peterson will bat against Caleb Graham. Peterson tonight is 1 for 3, a single in the 2nd inning. And here's Graham with the first pitch. It's not a check swing. Peterson tried to hold up, but it's strike one. Graham's got a sidearm delivery on the right-handed side there. Has a four-seam fastball, a changeup, and a slider in his arsenal. Here is the next pitch. Another check swing there. The appeal at first is confirmed. No swing from Peterson that time, and it's an even count at 1-1. Airhogs down 6-1 in this top of the eighth. They have scored their first run of the game in this eighth inning after an RBI double by Jason Botts. The pitch from Graham swung on and missed. Big cut from Peterson, but he's behind 1-2. Graham last time against the Airhogs allowed the walk-off hit by Brian Myro on August 6th of last week. Didn't get the loss in that one. That went to Chad Povich, who allowed all the runners to get on. But Caleb Graham only faced one batter, and it was Brian Myro, who ended up ending the game. Myro at first base, Botts at second. A ball and 2 strikes to Brian Peterson with Frazier Hall on deck. Graham is set from the stretch, and now here comes the 1-2 pitch. Fouled again by Brian Peterson into the screen, staying alive at 1-2. Graham played his college ball at UCF and grew up around the Tampa area. Brian Peterson looking for a base hit against the Florida native. Here comes the 1-2. Swung on and missed in the dirt. And Peterson not chasing a good pitch there, as it is out number 1 here in the 8th inning. Next batter, Frazier Hall. Hall tonight 0 for 3. Couple of flyouts to left field. Last time up, he grounded out to second base. Botts at second, Myro at first. Graham set on the mound for the first pitch. And it is just above the knees and a little in tight to Frazier. And it's ball 1. Airhogs are out-hitting Laredo 11-7 and outscoring them, or not outscoring them. They're being outscored 6-1. As that pitch is bounced behind home plate by Frazier, and it's now 1-1 the count. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher, runners on first and second. One out and a ground ball to the left side. Denker goes to his left and will have to make the play over at first base. 4-3 put out on Frazier Hall, moving runners to second and third with 2 outs. Now that'll bring up Eric Baker, the 8-hitter in the lineup. Baker tonight is 2 for 3. But now another pitching move might be made by Pete Incaviglia as he goes out to the mound again to talk with Caleb Graham. Incaviglia, as the Laredo manager, is in his 3rd year. He spent 3 seasons as the manager of the Airhogs from 2008 to 2010, the first 3 seasons that the Airhogs were in the league. Led them to the championship series in 2008, where they lost 3-1 to the Sioux Falls Canaries. Meeting is over, and now the at-bat will commence. Eric Baker with a couple of singles tonight and can drive in 2 runs with another one, but we'll look at strike 1 on the first pitch from Caleb Graham. Baker this year with runners in scoring position, batting with an average of just 197. He does have 22 RBIs this year in his first professional season. Looks at a pitch just a little low, and it was a tough pitch to take for Baker, as Bill Montgomery's strike zone has been low relative to other strike zones that we've seen this year, but that one's ball 1, and it evens the count at a ball and a strike. Now Graham set for the next pitch. Here is the 1-1. That is called strike 2 on the outside corner. Ryan Gaspora on deck. With the Airhogs down 6-1, they have runners on second and third with 2 gone in the 8th. Graham with the 1-2, swung on and missed in the dirt. Baker will run to first base. Ramirez will throw to first and make the out. And that ends the top of the 8th inning. The Airhogs do get on the board with 1 run on 2 hits, but they leave a couple of men on base. And after 7.5, they trail 6-1 to Laredo, in danger of getting swept by the Lemurs in this 3-game series. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Airhogs trail the Lemurs 6-1 here in the final game of this 3-game set. Lemurs going for the sweep tonight at home in the final game of this homestand for them, and also looking for a perfect homestand. They have a 7-game winning streak, and they swept Kansas City in a 4-game set before hosting Grand Prairie this week. Tobin Matejcek is back on the mound for Grand Prairie as Dennis Phipps leads off this 8th for Laredo. Here's the pitch to Phipps. It's high from Matejcek for ball 1. Phipps tonight is 0 for 4. That's uncharacteristic of him in the games that he's played against Grand Prairie this season. 0 for 4 in his last game as well. On Tuesday night, he went 3 for 5. Turns back on a pitch inside from Matejcek. It's 2-0 the count. After Phipps will be Travis Denker and John Alonso, the 2-3-4 part of the lineup due up for Laredo, who sit at 48-33 on the season and have a 3.5 game lead in the wild card. Upstairs from Phipps, it is now 3-0 the count. Matejcek just barely got out of the 7th inning without giving up a run, had the bases loaded with 1 out, and then benefited from a 4-6-3 double play by his infield. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Inside to Phipps again, and it's ball 4. So the second walk allowed by Matejcek tonight. He's also hit a batter. And it's the 8th walk for Airhogs pitching in this game, and that's really what's hurt them in this series finale tonight. Only 7 hits for the Laredo Lemurs, and they've scored 6 runs. So the base runners have come not only by way of the hit, but also of the base on balls or the hit by a pitch. Travis Denker up next with a runner on first and nobody out. Denker tonight 2 for 3. First pitch to Denker is inside for ball 1. Denker last time up doubled in the 6th. Now out to the mound to talk with Matejcek is Mojica and Peterson. After 5 straight pitches off the plate, Matejcek just turning 24 years old yesterday. Today is Abel Nieves' birthday, so a couple of birthdays this week for the Airhogs. No other birthdays this month for Grand Prairie. In September, Trevor Harden will turn 26, and Brian Myro will turn 38. 1-0 pitch on the way to Denker is called strike 1 on the inside edge. On deck, the cleanup hitter, John Alonso. Travis Denker had a home run last night, his 23rd of the year, leads the league in that category as well as the RBI department this season. Does have a run driven in this game on a single in the 4th inning. It's a ball and 2 strikes the count against Matejcek here. And now here's the 1-2 pitch. It's low in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner on first and nobody out in the 8th inning for Laredo. 6-1 is the lead for the Lemurs. They're looking for their 7th consecutive victory and looking to widen the gap between them and Grand Prairie in the South Division to 13 games. It's in the dirt and it bounces behind Peterson. Going to second base is Phipps. It'll be a wild pitch there for Tobin Matejcek. 3rd wild pitch of the game for Air Hogs pitching. Each pitcher now has 1. And now it's a runner in scoring position for the Lemurs with nobody out. And a dangerous RBI producer up to the plate with a payoff pitch upcoming. Denker calls time before the motion home by Matejcek. He's now set and delivers. Up high, and it's ball 4, 2nd consecutive walk. Allowed by Matejcek to give him 3 in this outing, and Eric Champion is out from the dugout. There is work in the bullpen for Grand Prairie. No signal made yet. So Matejcek allowing a couple of base runners without any base hits here in this 8th inning. Just barely got out of the 7th in a scoreless frame. Now asking him if he's okay is Eric Champion, and he will leave Matejcek out there. John Alonso is the batter now. Alonso tonight is 0 for 3 with a sacrifice fly way back in the 1st inning. That drove in the first run for the Lemurs. Alonso now in his 2nd year as a Lemur. Led the team in home runs last season. And this year he has 15. But Travis Denker well in front of him. Stepping off the rubber is Matejcek as he looks at Dennis Phipps leading off at second base. Nobody out. Runners at first and second. And the pitch home to Alonso is in the dirt. Peterson blocks it again. And it's ball 1. John Alonso has had 2 11-game hitting streaks this year. He was the AA Player of the Month for the month of June, batting .426. Gets away from Peterson again to the backstop, and another wild pitch by Matejcek, moving runners to 2nd and 3rd. That's now 4 wild pitches on the night for the Air Hogs. And Eric Champion is on the final step of the dugout, warning Matejcek that if he can't get this batter out, we'll yank him and bring in a reliever here. It appears that a right-hander is warming up for Grand Prairie. 2-0 now after that pitch in the dirt. Champion still halfway out of the Air Hogs dugout on the 3rd base line. The 2-0 pitch to John Alonso is called strike 1 on the outside corner. On deck for the Lemurs is J.P. Ramirez. Now here is the 2-1. Gets away from Peterson again, but Phipps won't go home this time as it bounces straight back to him. And that was actually ball 4 from Tobin Matejcek. 3rd walk of this 8th inning. And that will be it for Matejcek as Champion emerges from the dugout again. So Matejcek allowing 3 runners on base here in this 8th, and will be yanked for a reliever by the Air Hogs here. Bases loaded, nobody out. Lemurs up by 5 runs, and a new pitcher will be in for the Air Hogs here in the bottom of the 8th. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Bottom of the 8th inning, bases loaded, nobody out for Laredo with a 6-1 lead on the Air Hogs, who will now make another pitching change. Fourth pitcher in for Eric Champion is Dakota Watts, the closer, who has pitched 42 innings in 38 appearances this year, an ERA of 4.50 and a record of 0-2. 19 saves on the season as well. That's third best in the league. Watts pitched an inning last night, giving up 1 earned run on 2 hits, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. That wasn't a save situation for him, as Grand Prairie was already trailing in the game in the 8th inning. And now will be given this 8th to face J.P. Ramirez with the bases loaded and nobody out. Matejcek out, making way for Dakota Watts. Matejcek pitched 1+ inning and allowed no runs so far on 1 hit, 4 walks and a strikeout, and he's responsible for all 3 men on base. So if any one of them score, he'll be given those runs. Watts looking in to the left-handed batter, J.P. Ramirez, the designated hitter tonight for Laredo. Set at the belt, and here comes the first pitch. It's popped high, foul down the left field side. Ramirez tonight is 1 for 4 with a single and a run scored way back in the 1st inning. Last time up, he struck out. He is a .315 hitter this year with 7 home runs and 51 runs driven in. Watts set again. Here is the 0-1 in the dirt. Peterson blocks it again. He's had to be busy tonight behind the plate, letting 4 wild pitches go behind him, but you really can't blame him for that, as the Air Hogs really haven't been able to find the strike zone tonight with 10 walks in total. It's a ball and a strike now to J.P. Ramirez with Devin Goodwin on deck. Bases loaded, nobody out. The pitch from Watts is swung on and hit high in the air to right center field. Eric Baker now settling underneath, way back near the warning track. He makes the catch. Tagging to score is Dennis Phipps. He will get there easily and make it 7-1 Laredo. Going to third on the play is Denker, so that puts runners at first and third with 1 out. Now Devin Goodwin will bat with runners at the corners. Goodwin tonight is 1 for 2 with a solo home run and 2 walks. Now faces Dakota Watts, and Watts sets at the belt, the 26-year-old right-handed closer. This is driven high and deep into left center field. Myro going back towards the wall, looks over his head, and that baby's gone. 3-run jack for Devin Goodwin, his 3rd in this series. And he blows it wide open for the Laredo Lemurs, who now lead it 10-1 in the 8th. Give Devin Goodwin home run number 2 on the night and home run number 17 on the season. Now takes sole possession of 4th place in the league in that category. 3 of those runs scored by Laredo in this inning will go to Tomi Matejcek, but that run scored by Devin Goodwin will go to Dakota Watts. 4 runs in this 8th inning now, still only 1 out, and the next batter is Byron Wiley. Watts with the pitch, and it's called strike 1 on the inside edge. Wiley is 1 for 2 with a single and 2 walks. Playing in left field tonight and has done well at that position as well. Made a few catches on the warning track. He looks at called strike 2 on the higher third of the zone from Watts. No balls and 2 strikes to Wiley. Lemurs now lead it 10-1, but still being out hit by the Air Hogs 11-9. Watts delivers home, low in the dirt, and it's a ball and 2 strikes now to Byron Wiley. So that's really what has been punishing the Air Hogs tonight, is all the walks. 10 in total allowed by Air Hogs pitching. It's not just been the base hits for Laredo. As Watts delivers the 1-2, it's popped foul by Wiley. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Carlos Ramirez due up on deck. Watts with just his second home run allowed all season to Devin Goodwin on that last at-bat. Now here is the 1-2, low in the dirt to Byron Wiley, and it's now an even count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So the Lemurs are well on their way to winning their 7th straight game and win number 49 on the season. They would get close to 50 wins. So far, only 2 teams in the league have 50 as Wiley swings and misses emphatically at that fastball from Watts, and he will sit down on out number 2. Laredo right now has the 3rd best record in the league, that is, and has a 3.5 game lead on the St. Paul Saints, who are 2nd place in the wild card. Grand Prairie, meanwhile, 36-45 on the year, and the playoffs are looking less and less possible with every loss here against Laredo. Ramirez looks at ball 1 upstairs from Watts. Ramirez 1 for 2, singled in the last inning, the 7th. Watts set again. Here's the 1-0. A breaking pitch is in there for called strike 1. Well, the Airhogs, before their homestand against Laredo, appeared that they would try and make a dark horse run at the wild card after winning 3 out of 4 against Lincoln, as this next pitch is bounced on the ground to third base. Nieves picks it up, throws to first, and gets the out on Carlos Ramirez, and the 8th inning is over. But Laredo pads their lead with 4 runs on just 1 base hit in that 8th inning. That one hit was a 3-run shot by Devin Goodwin. And after 8, it is 10-1 Laredo. Well on their way to earning win number 7 in a row and their 2nd straight series sweep here at home. We'll be back with the 9th inning here in the final game of this 3-game set. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball.